Hello and welcome to another daily devotion as we're in week 4 of the parables of Jesus. Now this one, have you ever been invited to a wedding, right? You look forward to it, the fancy paper, come and join the privilege of Mr. and Mrs. Esquire to such and such date, and our honored guests, it's on like this scroll kind of paper that's really fancy and la-di-da, old English script and things. Yeah, weddings are nice. If you've ever been to a wedding, a reception, sometimes people get a little too tipsy or whatnot, and you have some stories on a wedding, but not like the one Jesus tells. Here's how it goes. I got a parable, Jesus says. A king is going to hold a wedding. And he goes out and invites all his royal subjects, the people he has a relationship with. And these people who get the invitation say, nah, maybe I got to file my nails. I got to clean out the toilet with a toothbrush. I got things to do. Sorry, king, I can't make it. All the people who he's known all his life, the important guests, make excuses. What's worse is, in this wedding story, here's where he really gets off the rails. Not only do his friends who he's invited to his wedding not go and make excuses, but then they start to beat up the people bringing the wedding invitations. A few of them they kill. Jeez, don't shoot the messenger. In this case, they did. And then he says, well, what's that king going to do? The king goes and he's going to deal with those murderous wretches. He's going to burn their city to the ground. Whoa, this really got intense quick. Brick, I think you killed the guy with a trident. Anyway, this is crazy, right? I mean, what kind of wedding is this? What's going on here? And then this king says, all right, get me any warm body. Good or bad, I don't care. But you don't know those people. Don't matter. Grab them. Bring them into the wedding. Make sure they're there. Make sure they know it's a wedding. All right, so the king's desperate. So he got people, and it's very intentional in the story. They're good, they're bad. They're sitting there, and the king's walking around and notices that guy doesn't have a wedding outfit on. You ever been to a wedding and somebody's like got blue jeans and a cowboy hat or something? Not a wedding in Texas. No, just a wedding where that's, normal attire maybe. I know I have cousins in Texas. But, isn't dressed for the occasion. And he says, take that guy, bind him hand and foot, toss him outside into the alley where it's dark and people are gnashing their teeth and weeping because they're not involved. And he says to the chief priests and the elders, if you don't recognize the kingdom of God, it would be taken from you and given to others who you don't think deserve it. Wow! This is some kind of wedding story. I mean, I think people get really bent out of shape about this. But let me ask you, I think the people, you and I, get most bent out of shape the idea that somebody gets tossed out. Not that a city's burned or people that are bringing the invitations are murdered. That's pretty heavy stuff too. So what's going on in this text? Jesus is saying, listen, God, the King, has sent you an incredible invitation by prophets, by kings like David. Some of them you just plain out ignored. He's talking to chief priests and the leaders, the good church folks. You've ignored the invitation. Some of them you've beaten, some of them you've killed, and now you've ignored the invitation. You ignored the king's wedding right amongst you. So it's going to be taken from you. And I'm going to invite everybody. Everybody's invited. But, here's the part people most get bothered by. This one fails to recognize the occasion. No wedding clothes. Get him out of here. What? I thought Jesus didn't reject anybody. All are invited, good and bad. But he says, there's a catch. If you don't recognize the occasion, don't recognize the invitation for what it is, you might find yourself on the outside, wishing you were in. Well, let me put it in practical terms. If a emissary, the ambassador of Ireland, or the president of the UN, or somebody of high order invited you to their wedding, whether you knew them or not, wouldn't you go? Wouldn't you dress up? I mean, you wouldn't wear, you wouldn't wear your jammies to a wedding, of a senator or a president. The Queen of England. You wouldn't do it, right? It'd be crazy. You'd recognize the importance of being a guest at that table. Jesus is making the point to the leaders of Israel, you have missed the invitation of God. You've been so narrow in your focus. You've made excuses. And you've been on the wrong side of this. So how about you and I? We're invited, good or bad, wherever we fall in between, however we see ourselves. But are we missing the kingdom of Christ in our midst, right now, right here? Saying, come on. And the last thing I'd like to say about this parable, which is often given a bad rap, is the kingdom of God is like a celebration. It's a feast. It's a wedding celebration. A joy. I know a heck of a lot of Christians who live their lives anything but joyful. No joy to be seen nor to had. Don't you be joyful. Baruch atah, hallelujah. Yeah, no, come on, loosen up. Kingdom of God is a huge party and everybody's invited. How about it?